the Christmas ball of a private college, girl after girl rejects a guy's invitation to dance with him. Desperate, the guy, whose name is Lee Fan, decides to ask the last possible girl, but she also declines. He's stunned and dismayed that even the fat girl rejected him. Just then, a man calls out to him. Wang Qiang and the girl with him mock Fan for failing to find a single dance partner. He tells him that if he were Fan, he'd hide in a hole and stop embarrassing himself. Chiang meanly tells the redhead that he's just dragging the whole ball down. Suddenly, someone speaks into the microphone, saying they'd invited their school's youngest director. It's the college principal, who introduces Director Mu Rong to the crowd. When she shows up, all the men blush and woes, clapping their hands at how beautiful the director is. The principal asks her if she has something to say to the student body, and she yanks the microphone, before looking at the crowd imperiously, which some men find hot. Unexpectedly, the young director starts pointing out female students, berating them for their choice of revealing dresses. She then turns her head to the side, instructing the principal to always keep a distance of 1 meter away from her, much to his shock. After she's done speaking, she leaves the podium, and the principal, who's at a loss for words, regaining his composure, he then instructs the students to continue dancing. Immediately, Rong is swarmed by men, who want to ask her for a dance. Even the bald principal approaches her, boasting that he won the title of Dance King back when he was young. He asks her to dance with him, but she swiftly says no, to his disappointment. She then states that she's already chosen a dance partner. When she heads toward Chiang's direction, he's immediately taken by her. He casts his dance partner aside, saying she isn't worthy of him as he fixes his appearance. Chiang then tells Rong that he's honored that she chooses him as her dance partner, but she only scoffs at him, passing him by. To his surprise, she approaches Fan and calls him by his name. The redhead is stunned, wondering what's going on. She takes him by the wrist and invites him to dance with her. While they dance, the men around them curse Fan, especially Chiang, who's frustrated. While Fan gets smug at his humiliated bully, Rong threatens him that if he moves his hand, she'll cut it off, scaring him. But then she leans toward him, whispering in his ear that he can kiss her. The people look at them as Rong drags Fan away to the exit. Fan is bewildered, wondering if this is the same old-fashioned girl from before. Outside the school, Rong tells him not to think too much as she leans over him. She tells him that she heard that he has a pure yang body and wants to verify it herself. Nervous, he tells her to please behave herself while wondering what she's talking about. She grabs his tie before leaning toward him for a kiss. Fan blushes, shocked as it's his first. Mind blown, he thinks she's so bold. Still, he muses it's a big thing to lose his first kiss. Then he notices that it's as if something warm is going inside him. Suddenly, Rong pulls back, clutching her mouth. She runs away before she can hear him asking what's wrong. Shocked and dismayed, Fan has no clue what's happening. Just then, somebody grabs his shoulder. He turns his head to look, only to be greeted by a mean-looking Chiang and his friends, who want him to come with them. In a secluded place, Fan points out that it's not his fault that the director doesn't like Chiang, which pisses him off. He kicks the redhead, who falls back, while he tells him that he is far richer and more handsome than Fan. Chiang compares him to a toad who wants to eat swan meat, which angers Fan, who then calls him scum. Chiang attempts to retaliate with a punch, but Fan beats him up to it, sending him flying back. Chiang's friends are stunned as Fan actually knocks him out. They're shocked to see how far Chiang landed. Meanwhile, Fan is also shocked, and he wonders how he's suddenly so strong. Thinking that they can't take him on, the other men leave with Chiang. Since he can't figure it out, Fan decides to go home for now. It's already dark when a flummoxed Fan arrives at his home. He can't believe his eyes as his home has suddenly turned into a villa. There are even men in black standing in attention for him. His eyes widen when they greet him in unison, addressing him as a young master. Utterly shocked, he asks them if they greeted the wrong person. But then, a big man with an eye patch tells him to enter his home quickly. Thinking that the man belongs to the underworld, he panics, but the man assures him that it's his house while calling him young master. The door opens, and the two of them look at the person who's complaining that they're being noisy. It's Rong, who then tells him that from then on, Fan is her husband. He exclaims that this isn't his house, accusing her that she's just messing with him. Rong merely sighs, saying he shouldn't be flustered as a man. He argues that he can't be calm as everything suddenly changed, before asking about his parents. Calling them her in-laws, she informs that the Murong Consortium sponsored them to travel around the world. She then hands him the letter that they left behind, saying they're off to the Maldives before instructing him to take care of Rong and give them a grandson soon. Furious, Fan tears the letter, saying they basically sold him off. Immediately, she gets angry, asking if she's not good enough for him. He tells her that it isn't like that her being his fiancée is just a little too sudden. She then reveals that it isn't the first time they've met. With a soft look in her eyes, she asks him if he remembers Sakura Cannon. Stunned, he asks her if she's that user from LOL, before saying what they did was basically online dating. She then says she had him investigated, planning to get rid of him if he's a bastard, which takes him aback. She then found out he was born on the Yang year and day, and it's likely he has a Yang body, which she discovered to be true earlier. Confused, he asks her what she's talking about. She takes his arm, urging him to come inside with her to talk while addressing him as her husband. Once inside, Fan questions why the bald man is inside with them, but Rong tells him not to be rude to their female housekeeper. The redhead is shocked when the bald woman introduces herself as T. Zhu, Rong's dory maid. Overwhelmed, he faints. After Zhu is dismissed, Rong introduces herself as the 16th generation of the Murong Villa, as well as the current leader of the Martial Arts Alliance, but it only makes Fan even more confused. As he's still in doubt, she reminds him how he had sucked 10 years of inner strength from her during the kiss. Fan then realizes that's why he had suddenly gotten strong. Rong tells him that it's what a pure Yang body does, enabling him to learn martial arts twice as fast. As her generation is all girls, they need a man to carry on the lineage. Fan then asks if it's why he took an interest in him, to which she confirms. He then asks why he has to change his surname to hers when it's her who wants to marry. She replies that Fan's parents already agreed to the matter. Though they protested initially, they yielded after receiving $1 million check from her. Fan tells her she just basically bought him, before insisting he won't change his surname. With a slight movement of her fingers, she summons something, which flies past him. It turns out to be a sword, which she then points at him, asking him if he's going to change his mind. Fan doesn't budge while Rong insists that he change his last name to hers. Still, he's firm, saying he'd rather die than comply with what she wants. He readies himself for death, but she only hums thoughtfully. Retracting her sword, she's pleased that he has a backbone, saying he passed in her books. Fan is relieved, while Rong states they'll talk about it again once he becomes her ideal husband, who is someone stronger than her, an indomitable master, as well as handsome, benevolent, and famous around the world. Fan is silent, but when she claims they're just some simple conditions, he erupts, claiming that there's something wrong with her worldview. Rong tells him to let Zhu prepare his food, but he replies he just wants to sleep. She then tells him that his previous bed was too soft, so she replaced it with another. Touched, he thanks her, but when he arrives at his room, he's stunned to see the inside of it. His bed was replaced with just a string of rope, which he finds outrageous. Rong tells him that since he sucked away 10 years of her inner strength, it shouldn't be too hard for him. When she then informs him that his floor becomes electric every 10 minutes, he then calls her the devil. The next morning, Fan is asleep on the rope. He finally managed to settle down at 3 a.m. earlier. Somebody kicks him awake. It's Rong who tells him there are still 2 hours before class. She informs him he has an hour and a half to run to school, so he should get going. He asks her why he should do that when he can ride to school, and she replies that, as his wife, she'll oversee his exercising because he's weak. He then counters that since she's his wife, she must share the bed with him. She says she could, surprising him. She then asks him if he wants to give it a try. Fan blushes, before exclaiming yes, saying no man wouldn't say no. He's in tears, silently telling his parents that he'll work hard to give them a grandson. But then Rong tells him that she likes to kill people in her dreams, which makes her family worried. If Fan can beat her, he can then climb into her bed. He tells her to forget it, saying he's going to school. She tells him not to leave in a hurry. As his shoes are old, she hands him a new pair with the same style. The redhead thanks her, saying she's kind, but he immediately falls to his knees as the shoes are too heavy. He asks her what's up with the shoes she gave him, and she replies they were made specifically for him, which doesn't make him happy. She then challenges him, saying he can just break the engagement if he can't deal with it. Afterward, once he put the heavy shoes on, Fan tries walking. Already sweating, he curses that he can't even walk a few steps. Calling him stupid, Rong walks forward and grabs a surprised Fan. She kisses him, which then triggers a transfer of magic from him to her. Pushing him away, she coughs, saying he sucked another year of her inner strength from her. She reveals that she did it to guide him since he didn't know how to run his Zen. She instructs him to try walking now, and he immediately senses a change, saying the shoes have gotten lighter. She then instructs him to get going. Later, Fan hurries to school, all the while cursing Wrong. He's determined to surpass her and have her perform her duties as a wife. Suddenly, he hears someone yelling. From a distance, he sees a woman and a man arguing. He remembers that the woman is Lin Yu from his laboratory class. He hears the man tell her that she can't just accuse somebody of being a pervert. Angry, she says that he just touched her, but the man only tells her he'll sue her for defamation if she insists on her claims. When she continues to say that he's a pervert, he asks her if somebody else saw him touch her. As no one around them is willing to get involved, the man then claims what she said isn't true. To his surprise, somebody yells that they've seen him doing something perverted. It's Fan, who yells for the man to knock it off. You look surprised, as well as the pervert she's arguing with. The redhead demands the man stop his harassment. The pervert clicks his teeth and approaches him, saying he shouldn't be a busybody as he's alone. Fan replies that if the other plans to act like a hooligan, then he shouldn't expect that people wouldn't care. The man, whose name is San, tells him that he should ask around, stating that no one would dare attack him. Fan replies that he's never heard of him, and as for who may beat up who, they'll just have to find out. San challenges him, saying to hit him right on his forehead. Fan demonstrates his strength by punching the ground, which breaks under his fist, stunning everyone present. Immediately, San tries to retreat, saying he doesn't feel well, but Fan halts him, saying he hasn't apologized yet. San doesn't want to do it, but Fan's tight grip changes his mind. The pervert kneels before Yu, begging for forgiveness and admitting he's in the wrong. Hearing him address her as a great aunt, Yu protests that she isn't that old. Afterward, both Fan and Yu watch San leave in a hurry. The redhead tells her that the man probably won't do it again, but then she harums, much to his surprise. He doesn't get why she's showing him attitude when he just helped her. She tells him to stop acting, which confuses him. She says punching the ground using bare hands isn't new. She tells him to use original methods to pick up girls, and maybe then she'll be impressed. She tells him to stay away from her, stating she'll pretend that she hasn't seen anything that day. She enters the bus, leaving behind a shocked Fan, who can't believe the audacity and rudeness of the girl. Not too far away from him, a man observes him, noting that the union leader's lover didn't run away. He becomes angry at Fan, breaking the table as he believes he stole Wrong from him. He's about to head toward Fan when he gets halted by the shop owner, who's furious that he just destroyed his table. Later, at the college, while class is ongoing, someone raises their hand to ask a question. The teacher tells her to go ahead, but Wrong says the question is not for her, but for a student. She calls on a tired Fan, instructing him to answer a question on modern history. Stunned, he asks her why she's in his class. Ignoring him, she quizzes him herself, but he doesn't know the answers to her questions. She berates him for not knowing the most basic historical knowledge. Condescendingly, she tells him he must correct his learning attitude and disallows him from sitting in class. He asks her if she wants him to stand instead, and she replies that she can't let him do that. Relieved, Fan thinks that his wife loves him. With an evil smile, she demands that he stand in a horse stance during class. Later, a girl asks Chiang to take her to eat ice cream, but he only tells her to play by herself. Inwardly, Chiang thinks that compared to Wrong, the woman with him is scum. He brought his sports car, thinking it'll be difficult now for Wrong to refuse him. Just then, he notices a redhead coming his way. It's Fan, who then gets immediately antagonized by Chiang. The latter says that if he begs him enough, he'll let him sit in the trunk of his sports car. Fan calls him a snob, saying he didn't get beaten enough last time. The redhead demands that he get out of the way, which takes Chiang aback. He curses, before deciding he'll just avoid Fan for now. Suddenly, somebody yells, making the two students turn their heads. A man is heading toward them, saying Fan caused him to wash dishes for a whole day, so he'll break his legs. Suddenly, he launches an attack. Using his fist, he punches the ground where Fan was standing moments ago, totally destroying him. He tells him that he can't escape. Fan has only landed on the floor when the man is coming for him again. The redhead becomes worried, thinking he needs to get away. The man chases after him, continuing to attack. He hits Chiang's car, making it spin before crashing. The bully faints, soul leaving his body. When Fan asks him why he's troubling him, the man claims he stole his goddess away from him. The redhead tells him it's not his fault as she's the one sticking to him. Angered, the man promises to kill him. He rushes forward to attack, while Fan freezes in fear. Suddenly, he hears a voice telling him not to be afraid, urging him to face his enemy. He realizes it's Wrong's voice. Planting himself firmly on the ground, he decides to face his enemy head-on. The man attacks with his Thunder Palm technique, which Fan meets with his palm as well. The force of the attack obliterates the man's clothes and sends him flying back. When he lands, he coughs up blood. Meanwhile, Fan is stunned. The man tells him his inner strength is so strong. As he stands up, he states that he didn't expect him to know martial arts. Fan reminds him that it was he who started the fight. As the man walks away, he promises that once he's healed, he'll fight him again, while Fan tells him not to. Just then, someone appears behind him. It's Wrong, who then scolds him for saying such unambitious words. Fan asks whether being her man means that he has to deal with a lot of trouble. He questions her who he provoked. She reminds him that she's the leader of the Martial Arts Alliance and many people want to challenge her. She also has many suitors, and as her husband, he is to share some of the pressure. Fan complains, saying it's unfair to him. When she tells him that he can just break their engagement, he changes his tune, saying he just needs to exercise more. She instructs him to run home as well. Fan thinks his feet hurt from doing the horse stance all afternoon. Wrong tells him to start running, and he obeys, thinking how someone could let their husband run home.